you guys. So I know you guys probably wondering where the hell have I been, what I've been up to, why haven't I recorded in 2 months plus, yada 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 yada, blah 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 blah. Well, I'm here today to tell you guys where the hell I've been. And I've been to hell and back, literally. So I know most of you guys follow me on social media, so some may know, some may not know. I had COVID. Yes, I was one of those unfortunate ones to get sick, and I feel like I got the worst of it all. I got every symptom that you can possibly have, every symptom that you didn't even know you can have from COVID. I was in and out the hospital, in and out the emergency room, laid up, not eating, not talking, not laughing, just crying and just being super depressed, and it was not fun at all. So I'm just here to tell my story, so maybe I can open the eyes to some who don't believe it, or who think it's some type of hoax, or just think it's like the government trying to just keep us in the house or control us. It's not. I don't know if it's COVID. I don't know what you call it. It's something. It's definitely something. And I'm here to tell you it's real. So just start to believe it. Like, if I'm not telling you to live your life as a hermit, I'm not telling you to have anxiety when you are around people or anything like that. Just learn to care and take it seriously, because it's not a joke at all. Trust me. Okay?
Real one.
So let's start from the beginning. So I was the one who was tried to be extra careful. I didn't go outside. I wasn't around a lot of people. I was just around Jazz most of the time, and that was it. I work from home, so I wasn't going to work or have to travel on public transportation. I wasn't even around my mom and my siblings that often, just because I was super nervous about this virus. I was super careful. And once they start opening up the city, going through phases, like phase 1, phase 2, where people can go outside, I was like, okay, try to go out. I ended up going out because my sister came to visit from Dallas, and everyone knows that's one of the hot states. Texas is a hot state for COVID. But she wasn't sick. My sister's very careful. She has 2 children, so she's careful. She didn't want to pass it on to them. So I'm just I want to see my sister. Hadn't seen her in a while. So I went to go out with my sister. I was careful. I had my mask. We wasn't around a lot of people. Then the next day, I went to my cousin's house, and it wasn't a lot of people there neither. I mean, it was a little crowd. But anyway, I never thought that I would get sick. Anyway, so a couple of days go by, I started coughing. Now, I'm thinking I'm coughing because I sleep under the air conditioner. Excuse me. I sleep under the air conditioner. I sleep under the fan. So I didn't think nothing of it. And Josh was like, you coughing? And I'm like, yeah, it's nothing. I'm still not thinking it's COVID. I'm just like, whatever. The coughing will stop. Then one night, I got super hot, super dizzy, and I just couldn't take it. I walked to the restroom, and I just felt super weak. And I'm just I need to go to the emergency room. It was maybe 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning. I'm just take me to the emergency room. So I get to the emergency room. Of course, they're going to assume it's COVID. I wasn't believing them because I just felt like everybody who went to the emergency room during this time, you got COVID. But anyway, I went to the emergency room, and they tested me for COVID, and they came back and they was like, oh, you have COVID. I started crying because I'm just I don't know. I just felt oh my God, how could I get COVID? I was careful, blah, blah, blah. So they ended up keeping me the first time I went. I was only there for 2 days. They couldn't keep my temperature down. My temperature was 100 plus every time for those 2 days. So they kind of keep you, if you have a high temperature, they can't keep down. I was super weak. My heart rate was very elevated. I would walk to the bathroom, which was like 2 or 3 steps from my bed, and I felt like I ran a marathon. And so they sent me home. After those 2 days, I came home, quarantined myself. Maybe I want to say a couple days later, I ended up back in the emergency room because I couldn't breathe. My breathing was terrible. It just like felt like something was sitting on my chest, like maybe 100 pounds just sitting in the middle of your chest, and it's like you short of breath. And so I ended up going back to it. I went to a different hospital because the first hospital I went to, I just felt like they wasn't doing all that they can. So I went to a different hospital, and I told them I couldn't breathe. They ended up giving me an asthma pump to help with my breathing because they took an x-ray of my chest. I had some fluid buildup, but it wasn't enough for them to keep me again. So after that hospital visit, I came back home. I was still sick, coughing, weak, tired. I couldn't do anything. I couldn't cook for myself. My mama was going shopping for me. Jazz was taking care of me. Like, I couldn't depend on myself for anything. And so, I want to say a week later, maybe, I don't know if it was that long, I had pain in my arm. So I'm thinking like maybe I slept on my arm wrong. I didn't think nothing of it again. Didn't think this was COVID related at all. I just felt like I slept on my arm wrong. But it ended up swelling up. I couldn't sleep. Like, I couldn't turn on my side. I couldn't touch it. It was just painful. Ended up going back to the emergency room to a different hospital that was closer to me because I just had to get to the emergency room. I was scared. I didn't know what was going on. My arm was literally blowing up like a balloon. I get to the emergency room. Now, at that emergency room, I sat in an isolated room by myself for a good 20 to 30 minutes before I was seen. Because they knew I had COVID. I had told them when I got there that I tested positive for COVID. So they put you in a different different room. Can't nobody wait with you. You just have to be there by yourself. So I'm sitting in this room by myself. I'm crying because my arm at this point is excruciating. Like, I'm like, what is going on? What is happening to me? I just didn't know. I was scared. I sat in this room, and so finally I called out. Like, I saw like a police officer walk past the room, and I'm like, help. Like, I literally yelled out help because I don't know. So they ended up coming in. The doctors came in there like, you have COVID. Duh, get it. Great. What's wrong with my arm? I'm a hard stick, meaning my veins are very small. When you poke me with a needle, my veins run, so to speak. And so it's hard to get like an IV or anything in me. So I'm dealing with this. I have like 2 or 3 doctors, nurses or whatever, trying to get this IV in me. They can't touch my left arm. So they doing all this on my right arm. And they had to get an ultrasound. It was terrible. So finally the doctor come in. They say you got a fever, blah, blah, blah. The norm, like your fever, your heart rate is elevated. Only thing that never was like compromised was my blood pressure. My blood pressure always stayed normal, but everything else, like my oxygen was low, my heart rate elevated, and this fever that just kept being high or abnormal. So finally, they took an ultrasound of my arm, and they realized that I had 3 blood clots in my arm and 3 small ones on my right lung. Now, the doctor said, the first thing he said to me when they found out that I had blood clots is that they were happy that I came in, because if I didn't come in when I came in, I would have had a heart attack or a stroke. So when they said that, I'm like, oh, hell no. Like, okay, this is serious. Like, I know COVID was serious, but just like, and at that time, they still didn't know if the blood clots was from COVID. Like, they didn't know why blood clots wasn't tied to COVID as a symptom as of yet. So with these blood clots, I had to stay in the hospital for a week. Literally, I was in the hospital for 7 days. They have to give you this medicine to kind of like stop the blood clots from forming, first of all. And then they give you more medicine to kind of like shrink them. When I tell you guys, my arm was like, I couldn't lift it. It felt like it was a ton of bricks just hanging from my arm. It was so swollen. And I'll insert some pictures somewhere up in here to show you guys. But yeah, my hand, it was like, if you put both of my hands together, it looked like it was from two different people. And, you know, to make light of the situation, you know, I said I had alligator hands. My mama called me Pizza Puff, or Jazz had some nicknames, or, you know, just to keep my spirit up. Because during that time when my arm was like that, the doctor came in and he told me if the swelling didn't, you know, subside, I could have possibly lost my arm. He said that to me. And when he said that to me, I'm like, what? Like, to lose my arm, I mean, I'd rather lose my arm than my life, but still, like, to hear that I could possibly lose my arm, it was just like, okay, this is too much. Like, that really put a damper in my spirit. Like, I was trying to stay upbeat in the hospital because I couldn't have no visitors. Couldn't nobody come to see me because I had COVID. I wasn't eating. I lost 20 pounds while I was in the hospital because I didn't eat no days, like none, 0. They gave me the hospital food that shit was disgusting because you lose your sense of taste also as a symptom. I don't think if I had my sense of taste, I would eat it because even looking at it was just ugh. So I didn't eat in the hospital. I was in the hospital on my birthday. So it was really hard, and I try not to cry every night, but I end up crying because I'm super sensitive. And it was just hard. I mean, I don't think I could have got through it without my support system. And I would have to, it wasn't like I had a big support system, but I had enough where it kept me like not wanting to give up. So anyway, I was in the hospital for a week with my arm. Finally, so you have to get your blood, it's called an INR level, and it's supposed to be between like a 2 and a 3. And when I first got there, my blood was like a 0.7 because of the blood clot. So I had to stay in the hospital until it got to at least a 2. On the 7th day, it got to like 2.1 or something like that. So they was like, they'll send me home with the care of a nurse that comes to my house every week. I didn't want to leave the hospital. It's like I wanted to leave the hospital, but didn't want to leave the hospital because I'm like, y'all going to send me home with my arm like this. I literally couldn't move it. I couldn't do anything with my left arm. Literally. Nothing with my left arm. I just literally held my arm like this every day. Just across my chest like this. I couldn't go to the bathroom by myself. And if I did, I didn't wear underclothes because I couldn't pull them down. I wore gowns and muumuus all the time because I couldn't take off some shorts or some pants. Or I wasn't home alone often, but those little times that I was at home, it was hard. I couldn't cook for myself. Like, if I walked to the bathroom or something, I was out of breath. So it was really hard, like, those first few days I came home. And I'm just like, they sent me home from a hospital like this. I'm like, how am I supposed to survive? What am I supposed to do? But I made it. It was very hard. The swelling didn't go down for a while. Maybe I want to say 2 weeks after I got home is when the swelling started to, like, subside. I could start doing a little bit with my arm. So the thing about me is I don't have any patience at all. And I have a problem with depending on other people to do for me. So I started getting up and trying to cook and clean. And because I was used to doing that, but I would like be in pain and cry. Like, and just like, sit your ass down. Like, you can't do it. But it was giving me more pain to not be able to take care of myself and have to depend on other people to do it for me. But I learned to sit down eventually and just like, Toya, you can't do shit. Like, your arm is messed up, bruh. Sit down. But it was really hard to do that. And I was missing work. Even though I work from home, I missed working. Like, I wasn't making no money. I'm like, I need a check. So I wasn't doing that. I just wasn't doing nothing, guys. I was depressed. I sat on this couch every day and looked at TV because that's all I could do. I binge watched TV shows. I was not happy. I couldn't have a drink because I was on blood thinners. So it's not like I had a glass of wine to calm me down. Couldn't do none of that. I gained so much anxiety for being around people. I didn't want to get sick again, so I didn't go out. side. Even when I was cleared for COVID, like, you know, went back and got retested, like, you're COVID free, you're free to hang around people again. I'm like, nah, I'm good. No, I'm okay. So I didn't hang around people. So finally, after being literally, I feel like it was bed rest, being on bed rest for maybe a month and a half, I went back to the doctor and I'm like, can I just go to work? Like, because before I couldn't work because, you know, I have to type at work and I couldn't use my left hand for nothing. So when I went back to the doctor, I'm like, I need to go back to work. Can I go back to work? They cleared me for work, which was about a week and a half ago currently. And so I'm happy to be back at work. I'm happy to say I am still on blood thinners. I go to the doctor next week. Hopefully the doctor say, hey, you're done with the blood thinners. The blood clots are gone or they shrunk. And I'll be fine. I'm not gonna lie to y'all. The first thing I'm gonna do if the doctor tell me that I am off blood thinners, I'm done, I'm free to do, I am going to the liquor store. That is my first stop. I'm not passing go. I'm not collecting $200. I am going to the liquor store. And I'm not trying to sound like an alcoholic or anything because I'm not. However, I miss my Stella Rose. I do. I want a glass of wine. A bottle, I should say, not a glass. Because they said I could have a glass of wine. But I'm about to tease myself with a glass of wine. Oops. You guys almost fell. I'm about to tease myself with a glass of wine. I'm trying to get back to myself. I'm not saying that I am 100% back and feeling good. As far as physically, yes, I feel so much better. My arm can move up and down. I still feel a little pain at the top of it, like the top of my arm. That was where the worst pain was. That was where the biggest blood clot was. So I still feel a little pain there. I'll take a Tylenol and it'll be fine. My range of motion is not completely back either. I can't like reach behind me all the way or reach up all the way or reach across my body all the way. But I would say I'm about 80%, which is great compared to where I was. I just say all of this to say I just wanted to share my story because a lot of people out here in the world do not believe in COVID. They just like it's a hoax and they're not wearing these masks. They still partying 50 and 60 people deep, maybe more, and they drinking, they all close to each other, not giving us 6 feet. And it's just like that's what gives me anxiety. Like I don't want to go out, and I want to go out and have fun and enjoy life and not try to like become a hermit, but I can't be accountable for other people's actions, so I'd rather just kind of stay away from it so I won't get sick again, because it's no joke. It's no joke, and my immune system is crap. Very crap. It's crappy. So I can very well get it again, and who's to say it won't be worse? So I just, you know, I have a lot of anxiety. I do. Like when I go to a grocery store, I'm like, nah, it's too many people in here. I'm going to go sit in a car. Or I want to go out to eat, but might be too many people. I'm not trying to scare anyone, and I'm not trying to say don't live your life. I'm just saying be careful, because it is real. It's not a game. It's not something people just saying. Now, the numbers, like when they be like, oh, we report 7,500. I don't know how real that is or how real it's not, but COVID is real. The coronavirus is real. So just be careful, especially if you have children, if you have older people that you're around, like your parents or your grandparents. Just wear your mask. I know it's difficult. I know it's hard to breathe in. I know they hide. It's not cute. You probably want to put on your little makeup, your little lip gloss, and you're like, I'm not going to know. Put your mask on. I promise you. Better be safe than sorry. Take it from your girl Toyonce. It's not fun to be sick. It's not. But that's it, guys. I know I've done talked your ears off. And you like, girl, okay. But yeah. But I am back, you guys. I will start posting more videos regularly now that I'm healthy enough to do so, because trying to YouTube and then edit and all that, no, I wasn't going to be able to do it. But that's it, you guys. I hope you guys take heed to what I said. Leave comments below. Make sure you guys are still subscribed. Still tell your auntie, your mama, your uncle, your brother, your sister, your cousin about your girl. And yeah, more videos to come. Thank you guys for listening, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.